Hello, ladies and gents! Before we get started, I have something rather exciting for you. I have been in touch with the guys over at Armored Warfare, and it seems I can get my hands on some goodies for you. If all goes well, I should be able to announce it in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. Oh, and by the way, I've contacted one of the community managers over at Wargaming as well to see if I can get you something for World of Tanks too, so keep your fingers crossed. Anyway, today I have something rather special for you, and perhaps different to some of the other epic replays. This is not Radley Walters or a Pools medal game, it's not even an ace tanker. What we have here is the story of a T32 who got into a tier 10 match with 200 plus millisecond ping throughout the game, and still had a decisive role in the battle. And other than being a nice little reminder on how you can stay relevant even when you're outgunned, the actual ending is worth the epic title alone. Got a little curious? Here we go. Alright, so here we are on Erlenberg, and surprisingly enough, nobody drones at the beginning of the match. Amazing! Now the matchmaking is all kinds of interesting in this game. First of all, it's a tier 10 game, but it's not as bad as it could be. There are only 3 tier 10s, 4 tier 9s on the enemy team, and half of the team is actually tier 8s. So that means we will be able to penetrate some of these guys with ease, which is a surprisingly positive news. It's not all hunky-dory though. Unfortunately, one of the tier 10s is a unicorn player, and the Jagdpanzer E100 seems to be a stronger player in a very strong machine as well, and there is a really good T49 driver who can be really annoying as well with his mobility and his derp cam. So there is a lot we have to watch out for. We are not the favorites in this game for sure. Now the T32 is a funny machine. I really did like mine, but it has its limitations. The absolute best thing about this thing is the turret armor. With close to 300mm from the front, this thing can easily troll even tier 10 machines, if it's hull down. On the other hand, it's not very mobile, silent rear armors are rubbish, and the gun, well, it's not bad. The base penetration is only 198mm, which means that it will have trouble shooting at tier 9s and tier 10s, from the front at least. It's not even the case that that's no problem, you just have to shoot for the weak spots. Well, this thing has a 0.39 meters dispersion, which is not awful, but especially from a distance it will have problems hitting the weak spots of the enemy. Now, Lockhazer is in a rather tricky situation here. You will see him occasionally bump into the others, miss quite easy shots, and that's because he has over 200 millisecond ping the entire game, which makes his results even more respectable, I might add. So he definitely does not have it easy. Remaining hull down and playing rather reserved, at least for the first half of the match, will be key. Now, as for the game itself, it's the usual meta on Erlenberg, at least for the higher tier games at the moment. Both of the teams remained on their side of the map. Our team is occupying the area around the castle ruins, and the other team, lots of tank destroyers, are probably mostly all around that ridge overlooking the river. There is only a limited force here overlooking our cap, so this is actually not a bad position to be in. We can definitely go hull down here. Should be able to cover this area and even get some shots in the middle if the enemy tries to push there. And, well, the good news just keeps on piling on. One of the statistically best player, at least from the tier 10s, is actually AFK. He will be farmed for damage quite early on. So that was a good shot, side of the T54. It's a very valuable target. In the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, we did see ourselves complaining to the E100 about his positioning, which in a lot of battles would be, well, let's say, it could be horrible, but in this case it's actually a really sweet position, and the whole reason for that is that there is no artillery in the game. Now, that ridgeline which he is occupying at the moment, he would be a sitting duck if there would be high-tier artillery, especially if there are more of them. He would be easily taken out, and if the teams would have deployed differently, he would be very much needed on the front lines. Right now, however, he is hulled down and he is able to keep the enemy at a distance, and if you ever did try to shoot at a hulled down E100 from anything but point-blank range, where you actually have a chance hitting the top bar, which is one of its weaknesses, you know that the enemy will have a really tough time doing anything to that guy. And indeed, while he's not a statistically strong player, he will have a really good match this time around. So, whether it was absolutely intentional or just a lucky choice of spots, he is definitely helping the team out here. And while the team is melting away, we are in a rather strong position, and if the enemy wants to push, they have to start crossing the river, in which case we will have the upper hand. The cheeky T-54 Mod 1 sometimes sticking his ass out from behind of the trouble, and come on. Oh, well, that's the accuracy for you there. Unfortunately, we keep on bouncing from the backside of that guy. We have to be careful poking out. There was an IS-5 spotted in the buildings. The T-30 occasionally pops up from the corner as well. And very soon there will be even more bad news coming from that direction. In the meantime, it seems the guys are slowly pulling the scores back, though most of the time in this match we have been actually the underdogs. So right now, really, patience is the key. There isn't really a position where we could be pushing a T32. We could go and help out the guys in the middle, we could go hold them there as well, but really, we need some guns overlooking this side of the map as well, because we have here the weakest part of our front. Oh, come on, T-54 Mod 1, just a little bit more. No? Alright. I'm sure there will be somebody else lining up, and oh, that's bad news. The T110E5 is the Tier 10, one of the Tier 10 American heavies, and is a very heavily armored target from the front. That said, we pan him through the first shot. Well, that's because, as most American tanks, T32 included, and there was just a lucky bounce from this side of the turret. So most American heavies are completely garbage from the sides and the rear, and you can tell how bad the side armor was, even with that angle, easily pen it, with our not so amazing penetration. Now, we actually carry 10 rounds of premium rounds in this machine, but we will use none of it in this match. A bit surprisingly, actually. If there would be a time when I would load APCR, if I have it on my machine, it would be pretty much when I have to face off a T110E5 from the front. APCR has, by the way, 245mm of penetration, if I'm not mistaken. Our trick didn't work the second time, but he is now a sitting duck in the open. And that means the E100 and the Ramatek Bolzik and the T-34 can all take shots at him. So that was actually a lucky shot after all. And he's gone. In the meantime, the enemy has been pushing forward in the middle, so let's see, unless the T-30 would like to follow as well, which it seems he is not, Let's see if we can help out the guys, because we have right now perfect side shots at all these guys. That's a beauty. 329, that's about the average alpha damage, is actually 320. And oh, that's an important one. Best little autoloader, very very dangerous tank as well, even in a tier 10 match. And look at that, suddenly, as the enemy did advance on our positions, it's even 10 versus 10, although the guys are now pressured a lot, so let's move up. Hopefully the T34 can hold off the enemy T30, who is not really keen on moving across the river. So let's move up and let's see if we can actually help the guys out. Meantime, it seems all the enemy tier 10s are dead. Oh, come on. Nope, he's now behind the buildings. So all the enemy tier 10s are dead, including the Unicorn player on the E4, which is the turreted tier 10 tank destroyer on the American line. Strong machine, but not very popular. The turret can't even rotate fully, and the E3 is just stronger in terms of armor overall. So he was probably playing very aggressively, as most Unicorn players do, and this time it really didn't work out for him. We were in a strong position, and cracking an E100 hull down from a distance can be even trouble for the other tier 10s. Oh, that AMX-30 was lucky. Managed to get away with 1 health point remaining. And that's a tricky shot, and unfortunately accuracy gets the better of us once again. And oops, there is a Mod 1 who misses. And we bounce. Yep. That's a more heavily armored one, if I'm not mistaken, so we will have trouble unless we can hit the weak spots of this machine. And hopefully he will keep on shooting at our turret, which we can take all day. And yep, that was definitely lag. Oh man, this game is a tricky one. Oh, it seems the T54 Mod 1 did change to APCR, and it's the second round which fails to go in. That's right, keep shooting the gold, we don't care. And that was a very good thing to do, waiting until he fully reversed so we can shoot his underbelly, and now we can go after him. And he misses. And with that bot shot, he is very much dead. And the third APCR bounce, very very nice. That's just how good the turret armor on this thing is. In the meantime, we actually took a shot, the first one in the game. There's barely 3 minutes remaining. And then it was actually an HE shot from the T30, which is very surprising. I don't know, maybe there was the AMX-30 who he was gunning for, loading that, but it's a very odd choice. I don't think he could have fired that many shots that he would be out of AP rounds, and T30 is definitely a dangerous machine, though at this stage of the battle, even though we are up with one tank, the T49 will be... Oh, and there he is. A big heat run to the side, 604 damage plus 230 fire. Oh my god, we have been wrecked. And that's the problem. E49 is driven by a very experienced player. And there are many possibilities up on that ridgeline to remain completely unspotted, so he can keep shooting at us pretty much without the fear of getting punished. I think he's about on full health, so he even can take a couple of shots from us, and our amazing turret armor, as good as it is, well, I just wanted to say that it will not do well against heat. Well, unless it bounces. Sucker! But that's a problem. Sooner or later he will get through. And that means he can keep on resetting the cap, and even if we are this lucky. With this amount of hit points, there is really not enough time. We can't hold out for long enough. Only 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the game, so at the moment, but no. He switched to HE to avoid the bounce, and it did work out. Only 307 damage, but that means we are left with 32 health points only, and the cap is reset, so that means this is a draw unless we can kill those two guys. T30 is nowhere to be found. T49 can easily run away, or it can also come and go after us quite easily. E100 decides to climb up on the hill, which is, well, perhaps not the best of decisions. Supporting us here would have been a better choice, and oh, T49 is here, he misses, and we don't. Oh yeah, that's right, and whoa, maybe there is still time. 22 seconds left, T30 actually did come back. E100, if it was a good choice or not, we don't care, he was in the right position after all. And we have these sides, and there is a fire. Oh no, he extinguished. He's a one shot, but there's 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, we did it. Just wow. It can't really get more tense than this. Sure, this might not have been an ace tanker game, but having such an impact on a tier 10 game with painful lag and without using any premium rounds is absolutely epic in my book. Well done, Lockhazer. Bloody well done. Now we can't really say that he would have had to walk away without any medals. There was actually one of the rarer ones being handed out. It's called Bilot's Medal, and it's awarded for those who take out at least 2 enemy vehicles and survive a winning battle while having received at least 5 different critical hits and losing 80% or more of their hit points. Not your everyday medal for sure. As for the results, being second on the team behind an E100 with 3000 damage in a tier 10 game is not bad. A lot of the tier 9s and 10s would have been absolutely happy with this result. Now add to this the 4 kills and you have yourself an over 1200 base XP game well earned. In total, 23 shots have been fired, out of which 17 hit and 12 of them penetrated. A good portion of this was due to the high ping, but of course we have also been fortunate enough not having to shoot some of the more heavier armored opposition a lot of the times. As for our armor, we were able to deflect 6 out of the 9 hits received worth over 1700 damage. The T32 is extremely good when you force the enemy to shoot at your turret, which they did do a lot of times. Finally, while we made 35,000 credits with a standard account, even without firing any premium rounds, this was only enough for a slightly below break-even result credit-wise. The game really could have been a little bit more generous even with a standard account, I feel. Alrighty, this was then our epic T32 story. I hope you have been entertained. If you were, thanks a lot for considering giving this a like and sharing it. Next up, I'm working on the Flat Panzer review and also on a bit of a surprise video that I think a lot of you will find interesting, but I can't tell you more for the moment. Until then, have some great matches out there, whatever game you're playing, and I look forward to seeing you again in one of the next videos.